Everybody knows what it feels like to get in their own way. You ever have a good day, and then out of nowhere, you say something you didn't mean, or do something you regret, and afterward, you're like, why did I just do that? It feels familiar. Too familiar. Almost like a pattern you didn't choose. A rhythm you didn't agree to. But you still move to it anyway. Sometimes it's not the world against you. Sometimes it's you against yourself. Have you ever asked yourself why the person who hurts you the most sometimes looks exactly like you? It's always better to understand than to be understood. You ever notice how the mind lies to you, but it lies in a voice that feels honest? That's the trick of self-sabotage. It doesn't show up looking dangerous. It shows up sounding reasonable, like caution, like wisdom, like being realistic. You'll feel that push right when something good is about to happen. And your brain whispers, slow down. Not yet. You're not ready. It sounds protective, but it's really fear in disguise. You ever ask yourself how many times you've mistaken fear for intuition? Self-sabotage starts with illusions, eternal contradictions that feel true because you lived with them so long. One part wants growth. Another remembers every time growth led to pain. The mind splits itself. The self that wants change, the self that fears it. The self exhausted by the fight. These versions negotiate, debate, and plan before you act. You think it's just how you are, when really it's survival programming. You ever replay a conversation before it happens? You script both the question and the rejection. You plan the move and the failure. Because you rehearsed the disappointment. You treat it as real. That's how the illusion wins. It makes you quit before the world can say no. You sabotage outcomes, thinking you made the right decision, when really, you're just choosing familiar pain. The illusion feels safe because it's predictable. You know disappointment. You live there. Hope asks you to move into the unknown. So the mind whispers lies. The opportunity isn't serious. Timing's off. Overthink before you act. The chance disappears. Safely. Comfortably. That's avoidance masquerading as intuition. Let me ask you something. How often is the thing you can't do actually the thing you fear trying? The illusion doesn't care about your potential. It preserves routine. It tells truths shaped by your history, not your future. And the scariest part, you don't even notice. You think you're choosing, but trauma is choosing for you. That's the illusion. The self you didn't pick, but still acts in your name. There's a price every time you don't choose yourself. Quiet, slow, familiar. Look back and realize nothing changed. Not because you didn't want it, but because fear stayed in control. That's the cost. Time lost, opportunities missed, versions of yourself never born. Self-sabotage doesn't ruin life dramatically. It ruins life in tiny detours, micro avoidances, little hesitations, thinking instead of acting, maybe later, instead of now. Because nothing explodes. You convince yourself it's not a big deal. But how many small delays until you delay your entire life? You pay in relationships too. Staying in shrinking spaces or pushing people away because you're terrified of exposure. The cost isn't heartbreak. It's self-abandonment. Every connection becomes negotiation, not love. You ask permission to exist. But permission isn't love, it's survival. And the cost of potential? Dreams never spoken because saying them makes failure real. You shrink them until you forget. Feeling tired? Not lack of motivation, exhaustion of carrying unlived potential. Fighting yourself daily wears you down more than doing too much. And the biggest cost, believing the voice that says, this is just who you are. Once you accept that lie, you stop fighting. Stop questioning. Surrender to patterns that don't serve you. Self-sabotage convinces you to give up voluntarily. Here's the shift. The realization. Not motivational, not dramatic. The moment you see the pattern clearly, something whispers, this is me. I've been doing this to myself. Heavy, confrontational, even grief-like. The illusion cracks. You notice how often you lower your voice, over-explain, interrupt your progress, apologize unnecessarily. All these point to one root. An old belief that shrinking keeps you safe. The scariest part? Your reasons weren't reasons. Excuses. I'm tired, overwhelmed, not the right time. Or soft language for avoidance. You didn't run out of energy. You ran out of belief. The world wasn't stopping you. You were stopping yourself. People weren't rejecting you. You rejected yourself first. life wasn't withholding. You avoided doors without guaranteed comfort. Truth most never reach. Self-sabotage didn't want to destroy you. It tried to protect you. The enemy wearing your face, a younger version of you, surviving with the only tools it knew. You can't defeat something you still believe is you. The shadow stops being a threat and becomes a map. Self-sabotage ends not by trying harder, but by understanding its purpose. What it protects, prevents, and preserves. It's strategic, outdated. A child version running your adult life. Recognize it. The enemy loses invisibility. 3 realizations that end self-sabotage. The voice isn't you. It's history speaking in your tone. Self-sabotage predicts threats. Brain prioritizes survival over success. Patterns are predictable, and predictable is beatable. Find the hinge point. Hesitation, overthinking, pulling back. Win the moment, break the loop. You don't escape the war by winning it. You escape it by realizing it was never a war. Just a misunderstanding between who you were and who you're becoming. Self-sabotage isn't moral failure, it's brokenness or destiny. It's an old survival script acting after the danger is gone. It breaks when you stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start asking, "What is this behavior protecting?" Your avoidance, hesitation, overthinking, withdrawal, none is random. Recognize the shadow, and the spell breaks. You're updating yourself. Momentum becomes maintenance. Growth becomes predictable. The enemy wearing your face becomes what it always was. A frightened echo of a person you no longer are. And always remember, it's always better to understand than to be understood. Take care, God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.